y'all still can clap. We're still doing it, baby. Come on. Come on. That's right. Hey, Cherie. Horny horn, horny horn. Y'all know what song this is? Hey.
I always really had a dream of just wanting to like have a band, and it'd be ladies, and we play R&B music, and we like travel and just like kill it.
Yeah, we performed at the Anacostia Escape Pavilion.
We were rushing, trying to get there on time. And when we got out of the van, the people were all around. They were waiting for us, shouting our name.
How you doing? Oh my goodness, Be'La Dona, that's the drummer. Yeah, girl, we want to do this shit. And I was like, okay, bet.
Staring, glaring, staring through me. Come on, party.
Be'La Dona is an Italian word that means beautiful woman. So that explains us. We are 9 individual, beautiful women. Each person in the band is different and unique. There's no two of a kinds in the band. I started playing piano at the age of 5. In my household, we always had a piano in the house, and my mom, she played a little bit of piano, and my grandmother played a little bit of piano in church too, so they were like my first inspirations.
I expressed an interest in playing violin in elementary school, and from there, my dad started playing quartet gospel music. So he formed a band and decided that he needed a bass player, and once he found out that I played violin, which is a string instrument, he figured, okay, you can pick up bass. So I started playing quartet music with my dad.
I was classically trained piano at 4. I started taking lessons. And basically, I was interested in playing. Like, I felt a connection to piano.
I started playing the drums when I was 6. I think I started before then because my mom and dad would just tell me how I would pull pots out the cabinet. And I didn't want to do anything but beat on pots all the time. So I guess that's been in my blood. It's in my nature. It's in my family line of plenty of musicians.
I remember as a kid, right in Michigan Park, right in front of Brooklyn Elementary School, there was this big fire truck. And, periodically they would have bands that would perform. So things like that would motivate me and inspire me to just become a musician. And even as a kid, the kids would beat on their desks, play a go-go beat. And, the boys would just go boom, jack, boom, boom, jack, boom.
The culture to me of D.C., the streets, is just colorful, the vibe, the people, everybody, it's just warm. We're unified, and we're also very protective of who we are. So when I started touring, I toured with Salt and Pepper, I would always be like, I'm from D.C. and I can't wait to get back home.
Some of the finest musicians come from this area, so I think for me, that experience shaped me as a musician by just falling in love with the art of entertainment, and I never thought in a million years that I would be. My dad is deceased now, so I'm following in his footsteps, so it's kind of emotional for me. It all started from just these storefront churches and, the concerts he took me to as a young child, and just those experiences are just everlasting for me.
I was actually blessed with the opportunity at 16 or 17 to be in the first female go-go band, which you all may know as Pleasure. It was 5 musicians, and we kind of just hit the D.C. area by storm. That kind of laid the foundation for me to say, I can do anything. Mm-hmm. And just because I'm a girl, even though I'm classically trained and even though I play in church, I can still learn the go-go genre, and that's what I did.
When I was a teenager, I loved Pleasure. It just sounded so cool and empowering, and I used to watch you guys at the Georgia Avenue Day with Maish and the Hip Huggers, Sugar Bear from EU, and Juju. They were on drums. So that was my first go-go experience, playing. And I just thought it was so cool, just being a keyboard player. Chuck Brown had approached me, and then I was really in awe. Oh my goodness, because Chuck Brown, he's known for only having exceptional musicians. He doesn't play. you have to know how to play to be in his band. So I just thought that was a huge honor to perform with him. I never took that for granted.
I met Cherie when she was playing in Pieces of a Dream, and I saw her playing with Sugar Bear and EU. I saw her playing. I said, I'm going to play with you one day. I'm telling you, I'm going to play with you one day. She was like, girl, you got it. Just keep practicing. That's going to happen. Me starting Be'La Dona, I never played go-go. I only played jazz, R&B, church. Fortunately, I had some guys in this area who are my brothers, and they pulled me in and really taught me the art. 4 to 6 months, almost every day, I was in the basement with 4 drum sets and myself and Quick and Danny and some other guys that I grew relationships with over the years. They would come by and we would literally practice, and it wasn't, playtime. They did not play because that's really what built. You had the drummers like Ricky Wellman, and you had Foots, and you have Juju, and all these drummers from back in the day that were really like the pioneers in building like this go-go sound on the drums. So I listened to them, and before I know it, I started to get more and more confident. I started to learn how to play more rhythms and more pockets and all the things they just instilled into me.
I never wanted us to sound like girls playing instruments. I always wanted us to be aggressive. I wanted us to sound like the guys, but even better. And try to prove to myself that, I can still do this. I can still perform and I can still have babies, but it's really hard.
I'm the head of my household, and I have to cook, and I have to clean, and I have to take care of my household, but I also have to go out and work. Men are able to have people at home, their moms or their girlfriends or wives, to take care of the kids and do all of the things, be the nurturers, while I have to do both.
I've learned so much from these ladies because coming from quartet church I've always loved go-go music because I grew up on go-go music, but these ladies really taught me a lot about being a professional musician.
It's great working with everybody. Like, when you're a unit, you evolve, together, and we've done that throughout the years. We've all grown as musicians, we've grown as people.
We can play rock, we can play jazz, we can play R&B, gospel, classical, everything, you name it, hip hop. We are a go-go band, we are a band. However you want to categorize that, it's fine with me, but we know who we are. We are beautiful women who are lethal on our instruments.